Today we're going to be diving into the aftermath of the Arizona Cardinals Week 1 matchup versus the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, the Arizona Cardinals ended up losing by 6 points with an opportunity to potentially win this game. But now that we know what we know, let's dive into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we cover everything Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. All right, everybody, let's go and dive right into it. Let's talk about the aftermath of the Arizona Cardinals Week 1 matchup versus the Buffalo Bills. Now, yes, we lost a heartbreaker against a contending team that some might say is going to make it deep into the playoffs. And let's call it like it is. Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks we've seen play quarterback in this modern time. This guy's an absolute beast, and the Cardinals weren't able to get back there, although applying a lot of pressure to him. We just weren't able to get back there and wrap him up in a consistent manner. So I think that was kind of the big, I guess, deciding factor as to who won this game. And honestly, the fumble of Kyler Murray didn't help as well, because they were able to capitalize on a lot of times that the Cardinals weren't able to do anything. So kudos to the Buffalo Bills and their game plan in the second half, because they adjusted while the Arizona Cardinals seemed like they didn't. But you definitely got to give kudos to the Arizona Cardinals just as a team in general. In the first half, we've looked really well. Like, the offense was clicking, and it almost kind of seemed like, man, we are going to shock the world, and the Buffalo Bills, we're not going to do anything about it, right? The problem was we allowed momentum to rear its ugly head, and they got the ball in the next half, and they had like a 14-point swing just like that. And blink of an eye, they were already tied with the Cardinals. And like I said, momentum is a real thing. I know Jonathan Gannon doesn't believe in it, but it's a real thing, truly. And of course, the experience on top of, you know, what Josh Allen has experienced in the NFL already, it's never over till he says it's over. So definitely kudos to him. I feel like our offense did really good in the first half. The second half, I feel like definitely there's a lot of things to learn. Now, I'm one of those guys that feel like you can learn a lot more from a loss than you can from a win, right? And it's as easy as looking at the stats, right? It's crazy to me that the wide receiving core that we have, that Greg Dortch was the guy that had the most amount of catches in this offense for week 1. Now, I love Greg Dortch as much as the next guy. I think Greg Dortch is a fantastic slot wide receiver, and I'm so happy that he's finally getting the opportunity. But the fact that Michael Wilson has 1 reception, 5 yards, and Marvin Harrison Jr., our 4th overall pick, has got 1 reception, 4 yards, is definitely a big scratching the head moment of, we need to figure out exactly what's happening, right? Now, I think we're going to know our answers a lot more as to what happened when the All-22 film drops. And as of right now, this morning, it has not dropped yet. It looks like we finally have our answer with that whole big play that everybody's been talking about on social media about Kyler Murray absolutely missing Marvin Harrison Jr. Up the sideline. We're going to go ahead and show a breakdown of Dan Orlovsky. He ended up having a great breakdown here on X, so definitely shout out to him. This is exactly what happened during that play.
All right, so I saw this still shot sent to me many times. Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison down near the end of the game yesterday, and I just wanted to have a conversation about it, because the still shot looks as Kyler misses wide open. Marvin Harrison, how did he miss that? Okay, so number 1, they flipped it back. Okay, the center, really the right guard, center, left guard, and left tackle are going left. The back and the right tackle are left to the right. So really, rules-wise, would tell me if 2 guys from off the ball blitzed to this side, you would be hot. You would at least feel warm as a quarterback, especially if those people vacate and you have a slot receiver replacing them, okay? So maybe not hot because they're coming from depth and you might be able to pass this off and get back to it, but you're warm. And so Kyler, I would say, like, Kyler's going to throw this ball to Dortch in the slot as they're playing kind of like a catch coverage down here, meaning this corner's reading this number 2 defender. He could be a cover 2 corner or a deep quarter player, but that's the thought process. So Kyler's going to throw that slot, kind of replace hot, and then that defender jumps. Okay, so we're in danger of batted ball, tipped ball, interception, whatever. So he goes to reset, and he goes to work to his left, okay? Now he's in work to the left, work left. He's still working left, still working left. As he retraces here, you might sit there and say, oh my gosh, how do you not see him? But you got to remember, He's right now, again, you're thinking, am I hot? Am I warm? So as he goes there, it's like, I got to get the ball in my hands. I got to get the ball in my hands. The last thing you can do in this situation is take a sack. And that's a hard thing to see right there. And as then, he probably peeks at him here and goes, oh, but two bodies running downfield. So I honestly don't sit there as like, what a miss to Marvin Harrison here. For me, this is way more about broken coverage. You're asking me to see something that I might see once a year type of thing. Like, again, Kyler's peeking left here. And as he resets, like, look at his back angle. As he resets, there's just a ton of bodies here. He's probably going to struggle, yes, to see over that. Not his fault. I don't think that is oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't miss or see and miss a wide open guy.
So as you can tell, in those 2 to maybe 3 seconds of Marvin Harrison Jr. doing this, he was open. He absolutely was. But Kyler Murray's eyes were already drifting over to the left-hand side, looking for, a potential guy that can be open, right? And I think here, obviously when you lose, everything is put under a microscope. I don't think Kyler Murray had a great game, but I also don't think he had a bad game, right? I think he's shown a lot of promise in this offense. And the best thing is that if we can learn from these mistakes, I feel like sky's the limit for this offense. I truly do. We stood toe-to-toe with a Buffalo Bills team that's going to go deep into the playoffs. So there's a lot of, things to be excited about, but we got to learn. We got to learn from these experiences. So I think at the end of the day, this was a great breakdown, and he actually really showed frame by frame exactly what happened the moment that we saw Marvin Harrison Jr. waving his arms and then Kyler Murray looking this way. Now, you can also have an argument saying, why wasn't Marvin Harrison Jr. the first read, right? Why was it that first hook route? Because there was a guy who jumped up, right? So it could potentially be a bat down ball. Now, Kyler Murray did complete a pass still, but I don't know, man. You can kind of go back and forth. Football is football, and I think there's a lot of things happening at once, and it's easy to kind of judge from, sitting on our couch or watching from the stands. But Kyler Murray had all his best intentions to find the guy that was open. I just, at the end of the day, we all hoped that it was going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. because it was an easy walk-in touchdown. So there's that. We got the answer for that. But there was also something I want to dive into as well, and I'm talking about the press conferences, the post games from Jonathan Gannon as well as Kyler Murray. There was one media guy that was there, man. He was asking some really good questions. I mean, like, really good questions. And that's the type of stuff that I love to hear because, like, sometimes you hear people, like, ask fluff, right? But the other question was, what was the thought process of you going for a draw play on a 3rd and 10, right? So Kyler Murray did address that as well as Jonathan Gannon. So we're going to play both clips back to back right here, and then we're going to go ahead and dissect that.
Drive there where you ran the ball with Connors. Was there a reason why you decided to run instead of keeping the passing game going?
Yeah, I tried to pop a run there on 3rd down, so like the call there, got us to a manageable call. They did a good job getting it down, but I like the play call there.
Ran the ball, 3rd down, going down, got a chance to win. 40 seconds left, and you run the ball to James Conner, who gets like next to nothing, and you throw it down to the shortest receiver on the field on the 2-yard line. I wasn't satisfied with the play calling. Tell me why I'm wrong.
I mean, that's what we felt was best. That was what we felt with the run. Obviously, if it would have popped, you wouldn't be saying that. They're obviously playing soft, playing pass, so trying to sneak a run in there. We had timeouts. It wasn't like we needed to force the ball downfield, you know what I mean? So you try to sneak one in there. As far as matchup goes, I like all 4 of the receivers that we had out there on any of the DBs, but that was the one I chose, so.
Talk about Jonathan Gannon's here real quick. I want to give a huge shout out to him because honestly, I think that this head coaching style of Jonathan Gannon, he's never going to throw anybody under the bus, right? Although maybe he doesn't truly believe that this was a good play call. I think, if you really think about it, like the surprise factor, if they thought it was going to be a good, play call, then yeah, I guess it was a good play call because of the surprise factor that came with it. But like at the end of the day, it didn't work, right? It didn't work at all. So, but you got to give kudos to where kudos is due. I don't think he was trying to throw anybody under the bus. He said that it was a good play call. And it almost kind of seemed like he would have done it again, right? But like I mentioned before, as long as we learn from what we've done, That's all I can ask, really. That's all I can ask. Now, let's move on over to Kyler Murray's, I guess, thought process as to it. He kind of said the same thing, and he mentioned something that, like, if it popped off, right, then nobody would be talking about that. I mean, he's right? If it did pop off, nobody would be talking about that. But the problem is that it didn't pop off, and it only went for, like, what, 3 to 4 yards. And granted, they put us at a third and manageable, but, like, what the deciding factor was after that, the result after that was throwing the ball deep to Greg Dortch, and hopefully that we, got a PI call called for us. So I don't know, like, it's a lot of if this happened then that happens, right? That's just the way football is, right? It comes down to like 1 or 2 big plays, but at the end of the day, like, if you really look at the stats, if you look at what happened on the defensive side of the ball, the Arizona Cardinals lost for a lot of reasons, right? It's because Marvin Harrison Jr. only had 1 catch, 4 yards. Michael Wilson only had 1 catch, 5 yards. Now, granted, he had a touchdown, so definitely kudos to him. But Greg Dortch should not be leading this wide receiving core. I love Greg Dortch. Trust me, I do. This is not a bad, knock on Greg Dortch. I love him, but we got other playmakers as well. He shouldn't be the guy that we're feeding the ball to. And I kind of felt like Kyler Murray was targeting him because, he didn't drop a ball, right? So maybe he was just more confident, probably, right? And yes, Marvin Harrison Jr. dropped the ball, but also did Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson dropped a really good ball that was in his hands too. So I don't know. The media also asked Kyler Murray, was that a reflection as to why you made a decision to go to Greg Dortch as opposed to the big wide receivers? He said no. I mean, he just maybe made a quick, snap decision, and he thought that Greg Dortch was really going to make that play. And if you look at it, like, he had the opportunity to do it, and yeah, the PI should have been called for the Cardinals, but at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to lean on the fact of we should have got a PI call for us. There was a lot of other things that the Cardinals could have done in the third quarter. We were outscored 14-0. We didn't score anything in the third. And in the fourth, we did outscore them by 1 point, 11-10. So overall, I feel like the team did really well. One of the biggest concerns is the fact that the Arizona Cardinals don't have a pass rusher came to fruition, and now people know why I was harping so much that I fear that this offense is going to be able to put points up, but this defense isn't going to be able to stop anybody, right? And now we're kind of seeing it firsthand of the defense just could not stop Josh Allen. Now, I get it. Josh Allen's probably top 3, top 5 quarterback in the league, so it might be different. Let's see what we do against Matthew Stafford. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how that shakes out, but I'm ready to turn the page here and focus down on the Rams this coming week. I just want to kind of do a deep dive of exactly what happened in this game, right? Listening into the pressers. On top of that great breakdown here, breaking down that play that everybody had scratching their head as to why Kyler Murray didn't see Marvin Harrison Jr. Completely open in the right-hand side of the field. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts here on Cardinals versus Bills? Did you take away anything from this video, or are you still on the thought of we should have won that game? Let me know here in the chat below. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals.